you so much, everyone, and welcome back. It's always a wonderful, refreshing, delightful highlight of my day to connect with you. If you haven't done so already, you guys go ahead and make your wish. We're going to wish on the candle here. I keep this burning for my subscribers daily. I refresh the candle every week. So go ahead and make your wish. I'm really praying for everyone. I really appreciate the commentary and the feedback that I've been receiving the last few weeks. Just fantastic. I'm so glad that you are taking advantage of the content and knocking the ball out of the park. You guys, I want to dive right into our content today. This is our installation of the series Ask Sheila. I receive a lot of letters every week, and it's impossible to get to all of them, but I do try and do my best. And I wanted to address this letter that came in a few weeks ago, and we're just going to call the title of today's video message. Understanding the realities of loneliness and looking at yourself as well. This letter really hit me because it took me to a place, back to a place where I was once upon a time, and I just want to go into this just straight up. That's what this channel is about. No holds barred, and just share some insights and some tools for folks to think about if you're battling loneliness. Okay, so here we go. Dear Sheila, how are you? I love and appreciate what you do. Please do not use my name in this note. I won't. I was led to reach out to you a while ago and just worked up the nerve to put it out there. Here it is. I am 44 years old. I have a grown son who has moved on, and I'm fairly isolated. I have an odd dynamic with people. I want friends. I enjoy people from a distance, but I have been burned so bad. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to connect on any level. The few times I have let my guard down, inevitably something is said or done that just shuts me down. I'm, I'm kind and generous and have bent over backwards to show people who I am and what I'm about. Why does the bottom keep falling out? I'm lonely. I don't want to be. So I'm just going to refer to you as Miss, let's just say Miss Lonely, as I'm kind of sharing some thoughts about your letter and the predicament you find yourself in. I have to say to everyone, I receive a lot of notes from people who express that they're coping with isolation and loneliness. Actually, a few years ago, the National Science Foundation put out results of a study that basically spell it out. The social networks, the core social networks of people have decreased by about 50%. Whereas 17 to 20 years ago, most people would say, yeah, there's 3 to 4 people in my network that I can really count on and rely on. Most people today are at 0 to 1. So you guys, that's a lot of isolation, a lot of loneliness. Most people are down to kind of bare bones skeleton crew. So it begs, and I should also say of that number, the 0 to 1, 50% say that other person is a spouse. So that's a really stunning statistic. And many people say, well, gosh, there's so many isolated people in the world and lonely people. Why doesn't everyone just get together and resolve that issue? There's so much more to it than that. And I really want to get into the innards of what can happen when you're in prolonged states of isolation, which can't doesn't have to, but it can often lead to despair. The reason why is we were not built. We are just not built to be isolated. We are social creatures. One of the things that I am fascinated about and love about relationships is every single relationship that you will encounter, whether that's with your children, a friend, even a stranger to an extent, you have an opportunity to experience fresh aspects of yourself. So much of life is experienced, is lived through a social context. So when I hear people say, I feel numb, I feel like I'm just not living. Um, that it's a reality base of what they're saying. I don't try to talk people out of it. I'm not one for giving pep talks that defy reality. The reality is, if you're waking up in isolation, you're moving through your day in isolation, and you're going to sleep in relative isolation, yes, likely you feel bad. That is impacting your mental health. What I would rather do, instead of a fake pep talk, is provide some things to think about that I think can lead to viable solutions in this area. If you are isolated and you do want to shore up more social connections, first and foremost, be honest about it. Be honest about it. I find it disingenuous. I've sat across from people, oh, I'm fine by myself. I'm doing just fine. Well, you're not. And I'm not going to say this is 100% of the time, but usually that's someone kind of putting on a face, putting on a mask. If you're in isolation, it is what it is, and you want to do better, just kind of raise your hand, not out in public, but at least to yourself, and just admit, I really have a core interest in growing some more fabric for my life, some more social cushion. There's nothing wrong with that. We are social creatures. This rugged individualism, every man for himself. I'm sorry, guys, that's what has us into the problem right now. That mentality has gotten us all in a hell of a lot of trouble. So it's just time, if this is where you are, to get some reality and get some perspective with yourself, and just come clean and be honest with yourself. So the first thing I want to say to you, Miss Lonely, is thank you for having the courage to write in, because I think more people than we realize are in a similar boat. And I'm going to ask you to do something, Miss Lonely, that perhaps you haven't really done to the degree and to the scale I'm going to ask you to do it. 44 years is a really long time. I didn't even read your entire letter. There were some things you revealed, so I didn't even read the whole thing. But 44 years, it's a nice chunk of time on the planet, and you've been having this struggle for quite a while. And as you said, Sheila, I'm afraid I've been burned. And your words were, every time I let my guard down, eventually something is said or done, and the bottom keeps dropping out. So when I hear words like that, when I hear descriptions like that, that are really just bordering on the extreme in terms of, this happens every time. That is my flag. Things go off in my head. Wait a minute. We have to check in here on a deeper level, because if it's happening every single time, that is a very unusual circumstance. So, Miss Lonely, I'm going to ask you to take a really deep dive and look at yourself. Look at yourself in the proverbial mirror, so literally and figuratively, and ask yourself, number one, where is my head? Where is my head positioned in terms of how I connect with other people, and also what I am expecting from other people? So where is my head? A couple things I want you to think about. You said, I meet these people and I bend over backwards to show them who I am. I'm sorry, bending over backwards every time, that sounds very exhausting to me. and also bending over backwards in the context of a new relationship, someone you don't even know you're building rapport with. People may be experience your bending over backwards as intense. It may even be scaring people off. I don't want to hurt you or upset you, but you did write in, and I have to just give you some real world perspective. So how about, instead of I'm meeting these people and bend over backwards, how about I just go out to eat? Or how about I just have a conversation for a little while and figure out if I even want to go to the movie with you, or if I want to invite you over, let alone bend over backwards. When we think about relationship, pace, context, tone, and tempo sets the stage. It really does set the stage. So the reason I'm asking you to look at yourself is because you are coming to the table with a lot of emotional baggage and a lot of programming. As you have said in your letter and you said in your brain over and over again, I keep getting disappointed. The bottom is going to drop out. That can create a lot of energy of anticipation within you. That can create a lot of energy of anxiety within you. And I have to tell you, I want you to check out something within you. The technical term for it is called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. Let's say the more relaxed term is you get what you expect, or you're going to find what you're looking for. And basically, in no short order, it means if I already have something, if I've made the decision in my head, this person is going to hurt me, this person is going to disappoint me, I'm far more likely when they do something, and it might have been something that's just ordinary course of life. I'm busy, I can't make it today, or I missed the call, life happened. If you already in your mind have determined you're going to hurt me, I've kind of let my guard down, but I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, and someone says, you know what, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out this time. That's a devastating blow for you, because you already have stacked that deck so heavy that, how in the world can someone overcome that? So, Miss Lonely, I really want you to start looking at this whole piece of what are you expecting? What outcomes are you expecting? Because I suspect that you have so heavily scripted disappointment, even when things are going okay. You allow, you perhaps allow the slightest thing to just cave in what could potentially be a wonderful and amazing friendship or connection. And I also want to talk just a little bit about real world expectation. I have to tell you, if anything in my lifetime, my sojourn in this work has been healing and giving me my perspective where relationships are concerned, is sitting with hundreds, thousands of people, if I include my group work at this point in time, and just truly understanding where people are, where we are as a collective on the timeline of evolution. People have a lot going on. I don't just mean in terms of busy lives, but people have a lot going on inside of them. You just never know when you're looking at someone what type of experiences they've had, how they're doing psychologically, how they're doing financially. All of this kind of hangs together to bring to bear in any relationship how we are experiencing each other. How much can this person who is in front of you, how much of your energy can they even receive? People are highly distracted these days. You deal with a lot of here today, gone tomorrow scenarios. So this is just where we are as a collective. This is not to say that there's not beautiful, amazing, stunning, lovely people. There are. I meet them all the time. That said, whenever I meet someone, I will not allow my mind to go off to the races with expectations. I'm taking that at face value, and I am inside of the experience in the moment. And I always have the attitude of this is a moment, and we'll see relationships are accumulation of moments strung together. And if you're going to just let yourself go wild with expectation, anticipation, you're going to be disappointed every time. You have to understand that at any given point in time, even if it doesn't make sense to you or look the way you want it to, people they're working at full throttle at any given point in time. And what may seem like such an utter disappointment to you, this may be just a regular course of their life. So, Miss Lonely, this is why I'm telling you to kind of look at your pace and look at your mindset, because it sounds like you're jumping in full throttle with people, and you don't even have context to know if it's safe to jump in full throttle with them. I navigate all manner of relationships. There's a great many people, let's say on my relationship buffet, if you will, or my relationship timeline evolution. And it's those relationships are nuanced. I mean, there's people that I may just see them once a year, and we may have lunch or get a manicure, pedicure. There's family members that I'm closer to than others. There's colleagues that I meet. Some of them blossom into amazing relationships. Some of them kind of stay where they are, and there's a lot of nuances to go into that. But what I can tell you is tone, tempo, pace, and context is everything. You have to give any interaction, any encounter, you have to give it time to unfold. And Miss Lonely, I suspect there's been so much pre-programming that middle part that I'm talking about, tone, tempo, pace, you're kind of bypassing that. Everyone is not going to be your bosom buddy. I'm sorry, but there's value in a buddy that you can go walk in the park with. You mentioned in the back part of your letter that I didn't read verbatim that you very much are interested in companionship. Well, that takes time. That has to be done in context as well. The bottom line is um, loneliness, and I realize more of us are dealing with isolation. Everything comes down to mindset. Everything comes down to mindset, which is why I'm challenging you, Miss Lonely, in terms of your mindset, because it's kind of you're positioned in an all or nothing mentality, and you're missing out on some juicy, fun, fruitful experiences in the middle. So I'm asking you really to temper your expectation. I'm not saying anything goes. I'm saying a more relaxed approach. And as I said in a video series a few years ago about loneliness and looking at friendships and relationships in different ways, when you make the decision, and say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to focus more on just the experience, just the experience I'm having, rather than projecting out, is this going to be my bosom buddy for life? Focus more on the experience than the relationship itself starting out, and it's going to help keep things on a more level pace. And I can't stress it again, you have to understand people are coming. There's just a lot going on today spiritually. There's that underbelly, and you have to have that sense of discernment. Yes, yes, people will hurt you. Yes, people will disappoint you, but you have to decide, how are you going to join life? Are you going to be scared? Are you going to just huddle up in a fetal position? Are you going to develop enough rapport with yourself and enough confidence and trust in yourself to say, you know what, I'm out here. I'm going to walk in wisdom. I'm going to walk in discernment. I cannot control every in every aspect how someone is showing up for. I'm going to give you an example. Some years ago, I met what I really thought was an amazing, lovely friend. You guys, I apologize for the noise in the back. They're putting up a fence in my backyard. I thought was an amazing, lovely friend. And I kept commenting to this person, your energy is just a breath of fresh air. I can't even tell you. And this friendship blossomed over a few years. And one day, as I normally did at the end of the week, I checked in. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Haven't heard from you. Dead silence, nothing. Okay. So, okay, give it a couple days, call them and say, just wondering, haven't heard you, everything okay? Dead silence, nothing. And I knew this person was still in the land of the living because we had a couple friends in common, rolled into 1 month, 2 month, and I got nothing. And then finally, a year or so after, out of the blue, I get this email, and this individual is going on to say, I'm so sorry. I should have at least come and had this conversation with you. What you don't realize is I was battling an addiction at that time, and I just felt so guilty because this person you kept saying is so lovely and so warm. It wasn't me. So you guys, it threw me for a loop. I'm thinking this, bro, you're so great. You're so balanced. You have such good energy. No, you're actually high. So it threw me for a loop, but I cannot be responsible for, I was living my life from a loving perspective with an open heart. I could have never known. And there were other people in the circle of friends who were equally stunned. Could have never known. But did I go inside of myself? Oh, woe is me. Maybe I don't know how to pick friends. No, you get up. This is part of the world we're living in today. I cannot be responsible for someone else's walk and them walking out of integrity or authenticity. I have to be responsible for mine, and I trust myself. That's a rarity. That's something that had not come up before. But if it came up again, I trust myself to look at that at face value, knowing who I am, what I bring to the table, how I'm taking this walk in the world, and you move on. If I had let something like that just devastate me, turn me off from meeting other wonderful people, turn me off from having a fantastic life, then that's a choice. That's a decision that I would make, and it just leaves so much on the table of life. So Miss Lonely, you have to decide. I don't know how you get burned or what those people did to you, but I will tell you this: I will bet whoever burned you, they're going and living their life. I don't think that and again, I don't say this to hurt you. You're probably not at the forefront of their mind. A lot of people will hurt you and just blow past you, and think nothing of it. And they've gone on to live their life. And here you are, 44 years old, in isolation. You seem like a lovely person, and you've internalized that hurt instead of putting it where it should be. These are people, whatever, dismissive, rude. I don't know what happened in your situation, but you have to decide, um, are you going to hold your power yourself? Are you going to hold your power to decide? Or are you just going to put it on a platter and let people pick it off willy-nilly? Again, I say that loneliness is a state of mind, and we always underestimate how our internal experience, what's going on inside of us, has everything to do with how we're experiencing other people. You can't be all tied up in knots and afraid, and even safely in a secure and healthy way. You can't even invite fresh energy to connect with you. You can't even experience that because of what is going on with you. So that's why I'm constantly beating the drum. Get yourself in balance. Take care of your mental health. If you have wounds, heal them, cleanse them. I hope everyone is really tuning in to the Traumatic Self series. That's going to be a 6-part series. Please stay tuned for the 4th installation. It's going to be coming later this week. That is a heavy hitting series that can clear up a lot for a lot of people. I'm excited because I'm getting into the meat and potatoes in installation 4. So you don't want to miss that. Miss Lonely, I am asking you, I'm challenging you to look at yourself and how you're engaging the world. Take a good look at the psychological baggage that you need to drop. And then let's step back out there refreshed, clear, upright. And I'm pretty confident your result is going to change. You guys, if you're loving the content and just enjoying yourself, find it uplifting, please do subscribe. And I want you to share the news of the channel with people you feel can benefit. Thank you so much, guys. I'm coming back with you in just a little bit with more amazing content. I'll see you soon.